YouTube, and 10 seconds, it will be okay. Please check it.
मैं अवेश को मैसेज करती हूँ एक मिनट.
It's working.
It's working?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. It's very strange situation. We couldn't see Dr. Javed and Ruxana David. I don't understand.
Maybe we will see in a minute. 21 person is waiting.
Dr. Ruxana is having the same error. Ali, please guide. What should we do?
Maybe sometime there will be a list in the waiting room. After this list, some people waiting after these list people. I'm again checking. No. I can admit it all whenever you have ready.
I think it's time you can admit so that if there is any queue, they can join.
Okay.
And we'll chat through direct message now.
Okay, thank you. When do you want to start as a moderator opening speech?
I think in 5 minutes time so that we have maximum people. I'll announce that we'll start in 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Lana Karaya from Georgia is
Dr. Dangle at gmail.com. What can you say?
Is he registered?
I am the last question. Abir bin Kaysar.
I guess
Okay.
it is not familiar. Yes, it is not familiar.
Go as per the list, please.
Okay. I will write it in a chat.
Okay.
These are my last questions. Okay, we will start. I admit it.
Banu Chakan is here.
Okay, I saw.
Faizabati. Okay. Hi, Dr. Banu. İlkay. Wait.
Merhaba.
Merhaba. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Lana. Do you hear me, Lana? Dear Lana?
Hello everyone.
Hello to everyone from Bangladesh.
Hi.
जो sign in वाला है ना इसके ऊपर आप sign in की तरफ जाएं
Hello.
अगर आपका already
Hello.
account बना हुआ है ना
We are just waiting for all the participants to join. So we will start in 5 minutes. I would request you all to mute mics unless we request you to unmute. Thank you so much for your support.
Dear Zaida, could you turn off the microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was guiding Avis Malik. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Please, Dr. Ali, could you turn off all the microphone, please? Except Izah. Except from Izah.
Hello.
Hello.
Good. Happy International Museum Day to all of you. I wish you good luck and success in your activities and in your museums.
Thank you so much.
This is Rashad. I am the president of IVCoM United Arab Emirates. First time I'm joining with your activities, and I hope you all the best and success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your patience. I believe our participants are joining in and requesting a few to hold for a couple of more minutes. So thank you so much for your patience. And I hope you guys had a wonderful day yesterday on the International Museum Day. And keep sharing your photographs, keep tagging others so that everybody can join in and enjoy your activities. We'll start in 2 minutes. Meanwhile, within the framework of data protection of privacy policy under the international law, IVCoM statutes, Pakistan Cybersecurity Laws and Regulation 2021, crime and the general aspects of Turkish data protection law number 6698 KVKK, let me announce a disclaimer before we proceed. Dear speakers, participants, and audience, the video of this conference, this session will be recorded and then published on the YouTube channel, websites, as well as social media accounts of IVCoM Pakistan, QMIT Turkey, and or anywhere deemed necessary for the promotion of conference proceedings. We accept that you allow this publication by joining this virtual meeting. If you do not want your image to be included in the video, you can just listen to us by turning your camera and microphone off. Thank you so much. I'm afraid our welcome speaker, Dr. Ruxana David, she's having some severe technical difficulty and she has not been able to join here despite trying from several devices. She's sending me her speech so that we should not wait for any longer in her absence. Meanwhile, let me introduce her. Without her having art background with her PhD in the same, Dr. Ruxana, she's currently posted as the principal of Canaid College for Women Lahore, one of the oldest and eminent educational institutions for women in Pakistan. After getting education, she joined the University of Punjab and did educational and did her BFA and MFA in design and received a gold medal for securing first position. She was inducted immediately as faculty and taught at her alma mater for 4 years. Subsequently, in collaboration with her husband, an eminent painter and professor at National College of Arts, Lahore, she established a design consultancy firm. She joined Kannade College for Women in 2001 as head of fine arts department and launched a 4-year degree program in fine arts and design. She received her PhD in history of art from Lahore College for Women in 2009 and was posted principal of Kannade College for Women in 2010. During the past 6 years, she has received leadership training at Harvard Graduate School of Education, browsing during Executive Development Center LUMS, Franklin Covey, Pakistan from Higher Education Department, Glasgow, UK, sponsored by HEC and British Council. She has been nominated as member of various boards and syndicates of higher education institutions in Pakistan. She brings with her not only the understanding of the working of a higher education institution, but also the ability to identify areas that require focus in the larger context of an educational institution that is not mainstream. Let me tell you that she has always encouraged and support us to take the plunge, being a major support system for IVCoM Pakistan. She would never say no to any idea, new idea or work assignment. She's very enthusiastic, yet very cool in her temperament. Let's see if she has joined in. Ali, can you please confirm if she's here?
She's not here, unfortunately.
Okay, let me, it would have been great if she could join, but let me read her speech on her behalf with an apology to everyone from IVCoM Pakistan and the organizers due to some technical difficulty. This is from Dr. Ruxana David. Dear museum professionals, experts, friends, and participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Alberto Garlandini, the President IVCoM International, has not been able to join us today due to his prior commitments, but has sent his recorded message. We are honored that he is present with us in absentia for the inaugural of this international virtual conference. Our special thanks for your patronage and support and your accepting to deliver the inaugural speech. I want to take a moment to thank the organizers, both from IVCoM Pakistan and QMIT Turkey, for their dedication in bringing this conference together. Mr. Akhtar Javed, the outgoing President IVCoM Pakistan, from whose idea this entire event developed. No doubt. Izzah Khan, IVCoM Secretary, who worked relentlessly to put everything together. Appreciation and thanks are due also to Dr. Muhammad Abbas for his support, Dr. Mishkatullah, the treasurer, for taking care of all the financial transactions, and Zahida Qadri, coordinator for Group 2 and 4. A special note of appreciation for Madam Saadat Gunair, Dr. Ali, Jamile, Nafise, and Deniz from QMIT Turkey for their technical support in Zoom and YouTube connectivity and poster design, all the websites and stuff like that. The team has put lots of work into this project, and we look forward to how the conference will unfold. In the sessions over the next 4 days, we will have representations with us from almost 32 countries. This conference coincides with the International Museum Day 2021, which revolves around the theme of the future of museums, recover and reimagine. We have already lived and experienced more than a year of the pandemic, which has affected every aspect of our lives: social, economic, political, and psychological. The pandemic has shaken the lives of everyone on this planet, making most things difficult to navigate. However, with all its negative consequences, the pandemic has been pivotal in pushing the world towards digitization and virtual links to treat new ways of connecting globally in order to address matters that concern the entire planet and its survival. The future of museums is intrinsically linked with what the future of the planet will be. There is a great need to begin with to recover, but very importantly, to reimagine ways in which museums can work using culture as the driving force to benefit people and the planet. As the world adapts to a new normal, we are aware that museums have a huge potential for playing a key role for social integration by helping communities to understand their own heritage and those of others to build bridges among the people of the world. They can also be economy boosters through tourism and contribute to quality of life through innovative projects. This present conference is, among other things, focusing on what role museums can play to help in realizing social, environmental, and economic equity in the world and have a sustainable future. I hope this conference will enable us to share and to learn from each other ways to crystallize the future role of museums for the sustainability of the planet. Let me close by wishing everyone a delightful and stimulating next few days. A warm welcome once again, and thank you for coming together to celebrate and deliberate on museums. That was on behalf of Dr. Roxana David. Thank you so much. Let me proceed further without any further ado. Let me invite Madam Saadat Gunair for the introduction to conference. Dr. Saadat she's a very patient, refined, meticulous professional whom we cherish to work with as a collaborating partner. She studied economy, commerce, and worked at the Central Bank of Republic of Turkey. She is dealing with the relationship between the sustainable development of the countries and protection of the cultural heritage since 1996. From 2000 to 2005, she activated as free international project designer and coordinator in Turkey for unemployed and destitute persons within the framework of the Social Risk Mitigation Program of the World Bank. In 2006, she was one of the founder members of QMID in Istanbul, Turkey, and World Association for the Protection of Tangible and Intangible Cultural Heritage in Times of Armed Conflict, Rome, Italy. From 2006, acts as the president of the executive committee of QMID, took part in the European Union projects coordinated by QMID, and presented numerous papers and national and international conferences. Madam Saadat, the floor is yours. Madam Saadat. Your mic is mute. Please unmute your mic, Ma'am Saadat.
Okay.
You can start now.
Thank you. Very excited. Dear President, dear Vice President, keynote speakers, and dear participants, welcome. As you know, each project, event, activity has a starting point, implementation story, outputs, and results. No doubt, also this international virtual conference. During the time given to me, please let me to tell you the background of the story of the International Virtual Conference on Museum 2021. As the director of Troy Museum in Çanakkale, Turkey, honored with the 2020 European Museum of the Year Special Award given by the European Museum Forum, EMF, under the auspices of the Council of Europe a few days ago said, we are not locked down during the global pandemic COVID-19 period. We open new doors to the life. So the first International Virtual Conference on Museum IVCoM 2020 was successfully organized in December 12 to 15, 2020, in cooperation with IVCoM National Committees, Committee Malaysia, IVCoM National Committee Turkey, IVCoM National Committee Pakistan, and our association, Kültürel Mirasın Dostları Derneği, KÜMİT, Istanbul, Turkey. Yeah, you can see the posters of previous conference. You can see some pictures from the conference. The success of the IVCoM 2020 organization, the synergy, friendship, solidarity, volunteering, and exchange information on museum, museology, protection of the cultural heritage created during the activity, encourage partners to organize the new one virtual conference in 2021. The second international conference on museum, you can see our preparation, infrastructure preparation, meetings, message, emails, etc., telephone call, Zoom meeting, you know. The second international virtual conference on museum, IVCoM 2021, organized by IVCoM National Committee Pakistan and our association Kültürel Mirasın Dostları Derneği İstanbul KÜMİT, to celebrate International Museum Day with the collaboration of IVCoM national committees, civil society organizations, and universities from 32 countries all over the world. That event was published on the interactive map of IVCoM International. Let me to express my gratitude to Sir Mohammed Javed, Master of Masters, İzzah Khan, Zahida Kadri, Dr. Ali Akyo, our partners from 32 countries, and our volunteers for their endless efforts. Okay. You can see posters. At IVCoM 2021, we plan to discuss the exchange information with our valuable speakers from all over the world about museums, museology, protection of the cultural heritage, new concepts, and new approaches. Videos of the session of this conference will be published on IVCoM National Committee Pakistan and our association KÜMİT YouTube and web pages. IVCoM 2021 will start with the inauguration ceremony today on May 19. First part of the session, part 1, will be organized by dear IVCoM Azerbaijan National Committee, and the other sessions will continue by the end of this July. We continue to plan the new session of the part 2, IVCoM 2021. We prepared IVCoM web page also, website 2. With this website, we plan to share our notes, videos, and memories, previous IVCoM and new IVCoM, and to exchange information with you. We look forward to your kind contributions to achieve better together with you. Maybe we will create a new synergy with you in the future. Who knows? Thank you for being with us. This is the part 1, posters of the part 1. Until our contact notes, maybe you can take notes, and thank you. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Ma'am Sadat. Thank you so much for all the acknowledgements and appreciation. Without any further ado, let me introduce the president of IVCoM International for his inaugural speech, Dr. Alberto Garlandini. He's not only, he's wearing lots of hats, and list is very long. He was also president of IVCoM. He's president IVCoM International, former president of IVCoM Italy, president of the organizing committee of IVCoM Milano to 2016, president of the scientific committee of Trento Musée delle. Please ignore my accent because I'm not Italian or French. So, and president of Abbonamento Musée Association, scientific committee of Brescia Musée Foundation, board of directors of Palazzo Ducale Museum in Mantua. Unfortunately, as per her, due to his prior commitments, he won't be able to join in live, but he has sent a recorded video message to share with you all. Dr. Ali would be able to share his speech with us.
Dear friends and colleagues, it is a great pleasure for me to be with you at the inaugural session of the International Virtual Conference on Museums. I wish to express my gratitude to Muhammad Akhter Javed, who on behalf of IVCoM Pakistan, IVCoM Azerbaijan, IVCoM Bangladesh, IVCoM Nepal, IVCoM Sri Lanka and CUMID Turkey, has kindly invited me to open this session. In these days, museums and communities from all over the world are coming together for the International Museum Day 2021, dedicated to the theme, The Future of Museums, Recover and Reimagine. In its 44 years of history, this celebration has never been held under such exceptional circumstances as it was last year and as it will be again this year. The COVID-19 pandemic is still storming in many countries around the globe. While some museums have reopened with major limitations, many others stay closed. As demonstrated in several studies conducted by IVCoM and UNESCO, our sector is going through the most serious crisis in its modern times, with severe economic, social, and psychological repercussions in the short and long term. While we can hopefully glimpse the end of the tunnel, the theme of the International Museum Day raises an important question. What is the future of museums? Beyond mere recovery, we must reinvent ourselves and reimagine the museum of the future. In a scenario marked by the crisis of mass tourism, fewer resources, and persistent sanitary restrictions, many museums have to reconsider their business models and reinvent their social and educational role. More than 50% of museums complain that so far they have received neither direct nor indirect financial support from governments. IVCoM is advocating for emergency funds at all international tables. I have recently spoken at several high-level conferences of UNESCO, of the G20 countries, of UNIDROIT, of OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, of the Council of European Union, so that museums and heritage are kept in the agendas of decision makers. The COVID-19 has led museums to accelerate change and explore new solutions to transform the emergency into a catalyst for innovations. Museum professionals are well aware that the pandemic has increased inequalities. In a world where 41% of the population are not active internet users, digital illiteracy and the inadequacy of digital infrastructures have widened disparities in access to heritage and in participation to cultural life. I believe that the Museum of the Future is already being built today. Every day, even before the pandemic started, museum professionals have experimented with new ways of connecting with their communities and new forms of cultural fruition. Need breeds innovation, and this crisis has demonstrated that change is the way forward. Facing new challenges, museums have developed innovative social activities, digitization, and new hybrid forms of cultural experience and dissemination. On Earth Day 2021, celebrated on April 22nd, IVCoM officially joined the global coalition United for Biodiversity. On the International Museum Day, IVCoM calls museums to advocate for environmental and climate justice and for a future in which respect for nature and biodiversity is a non-negotiable imperative. IVCoM recognizes that all museums have a crucial part in creating and shaping a sustainable world through their programs, partnerships, and operations. Global challenges call for global responses. International cooperation is needed now more than ever. Museum professionals need to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and inspire each other. With 49,000 members all over the world, IVCoM strives to provide a platform for these indispensable exchanges. Last year, IVCoM has issued technical, ethical, scientific, and social recommendations on reopening, security, conservation, community resilience, and digitization. These recommendations are being used by museums and government as standard references. IVCoM has also launched 2 calls for IVCoM Solidarity projects to support museum resilience with an endowment of 370,000 euros. On this International Museum Day, IVCoM sends a powerful message. Museums are bridges between people and cultures. Museums promote participation and diversity. Museums innovate and experiment to respond to the social, economic, and environmental challenges of our troubled present. IVCoM is calling museums to lead the change. Last year we faced a great challenge, but the biggest one is yet to come. Now is the time to improve the relationship of museums with their communities and to reaffirm their essential value for the construction of a just and sustainable future. Now is the time to take new responsibilities, the time for unity, the time for cooperation. As IVCoM founding father stated in 1946, only together will we be able to move forward. I wish you an excellent and successful conference. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Alberto, and thank you, Dr. Ali, for sharing his speech with us all. Now, since we are pressing for time, we had thought that we would spare 10 minutes for the discussion session, But since our Azerbaijan session is getting late for their proceedings, so we will skip the discussion session, and all those who want to say a few words or discuss anything, they can do that at the end of Azerbaijan session, which is scheduled from 2 to 4 p.m. We are 5 minutes late for that. So let's wind it up. I would like to invite Dr. Ali Akin Akyol for the vote of thanks. Let me introduce Dr. Ali with you. He received his bachelor's degree in chemistry, master's degree in archaeometry, and PhD degree in archaeometry again. For the Middle East Technical University. He started his career as an instructor at Ankara University, then Ghazi University, and now at Ankara Haki Bayram Valley University since 2018, where he directed the Historical Materials Research and Conservation Laboratory. His academic studies are on archaeological material analysis and their characterizations. He has worked as a researcher on the project, group member of National and International Restoration and Conservation Projects since 1995. He also specializes in the field of museum education. He is the member of various national and international societies and committees on chemistry, conservation, history, culture, and museum curation and QMID. He was also honored to receive national and international awards on restoration for cultural heritage. While doing all that, he is always smiling, not that kind of hardcore academic through his attire and aroma, leading our technical team of International Council of International Virtual Conference on Museums. Sorry for mixing up so many things. Let me hand over the stage to Dr. Ali. Thank you, Dr. Ali.
Thank you so much, Isa. Dear museum friends, I want to start my speech by sharing my pleasure to be with you here. I send my sincere greetings to the 32 participating countries that I see as a part of the International Virtual Conference on Museum, IVCoM 2021, IVCoM 2021 family. Okay, I would like to thank IVCoM International, IVCoM Pakistan, and Friends of Cultural Heritage, QMIT, FOKU, for giving me the opportunity to speak on this platform. I would like to share with my satisfaction as a member of both QMIT and IVCoM Turkey. It's a source of great pride for me to have this speech here in front of you. I would like to express my endless thanks to IVCoM International President, Mr. Alberto Garlandini, IVCoM Asia Pacific Department Board Member, and IVCoM Pakistan President, Mr. Mohammed Akhtar Javed. Such a successful organization would not be being possible without Mr. Javed, who accepted me as his right hand and his brother, very valuable, and IVCoM Pakistan group members, Ms. Saida Khatri, Mrs. Azahan, who are in this team. Thank you so much. IVCoM Turkey President Bülent Gönültaş, and IVCoM member Mrs. Meliha Yaylalı, and QMIT President Saadet Güner, and Ms. Deniz Serbest has had a great share in this organization. These institutions that I am member of always give me and my country confidence with their successful and efficient works. Thank you so much again. I express my gratitude to IVCoM Pakistan and QMIT, Friends of Cultural Heritage, who brought us together. This successful organization, which started in 2020 and brought to the life by joining the second one together, would not be happening now, had it not been for their devoted efforts for months. Cemile Yıldırım and Nefise Günaydın, who had a share in the design and operation of the IVCoM 2021 website in the organization made me feel safer and more resilient in the organization. Thank you so much. As a museum friend and academic, please allow me conclude with a few words about museums. In the middle of the 19th century, the thought emerged that one of the functions of the museum should be education. With the beginning of the 20th century, the number of museums increased and understanding of museum changed. With the developing educational theories and the museum understanding, it was realized that museums should establish closer relation with the society in order to contribute to the education and culture. Today, museums are moving towards the understanding of a museum that makes you think, touch, and activate instead of warehouse concept that includes static exhibition. Beyond exhibiting the collections by content, museums are one of the important places where information is shared and function as a laboratory for education, especially in accessing systematic information. Museums are effective in recognizing their own culture and different cultures with a versatile and tolerant approach, understanding similarities and differences, developing intercultural understanding and empathy, and developing the awareness of protecting the environment and cultural heritage. Although this pandemic period prevent us from facing together, our hearts, and I wish the whole ICOM family happy, healthy, and creative days. Thank you so much. As Ali Akınakyo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ali. At the end of the inaugural session, I would like to say that it would not have been possible without the enthusiastic leadership of Javed Akhtar Sahab, the former president of ICOM Pakistan, since we are in the middle of elections and our board has been dissolved. So, but despite not having any position on the board, Dr. Javed is working day and night, not coming on the floor or staying at the backstage, just like the producers and directors. And at the end, I would also like to acknowledge COVID-19, without whom this conference would not have been possible. So let's celebrate the positive side of COVID. Now, let me give the floor to Azerbaijan for their session. Shiri Malkova, the floor is yours now, and please begin your proceedings. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear. It is a big pleasure to see you all, to greet you all, dear colleagues. I would like to thank especially ICOM Pakistan, especially Dr. Javed and you, for this really great job, for this initiative, and the great job during a few months. It takes really a long time to cooperate, to organize all these sessions with different ICOM committees, to collect all together, and you really succeeded. This is a great event, and we are really happy to see you all. And thank you that the first session goes to Azerbaijan. I would like to say that here on our session, we will discuss very interesting topics. And of course, as you mentioned, the COVID-19, which reflects to our museum sphere, to our museum life a lot. And of course, the one point is that we became more closer by these different Zoom programs, but at the same time, the borders are still closed and we don't have chance to visit each other. what is really very important in our IVCoM networking. Actually, this is a main theme in our work to make these bridges between our cultures and between our museum specialists. We would discuss such important topics as a digital transformation, social relevance and sustainability, and new business models. So how do we see the future of museums? What transformation do we experience to be closer to our audience? I'm excited to discuss all these questions with you and hear you, dear colleagues. If you don't mind, I will start with my presentation. As I'm IVCoM, chair of IVCoM Azerbaijan, but at the same time, I'm director of the leading museum in Azerbaijan. It's a Azerbaijan National Carpet Museum. And I will tell you today about our latest program, about our activity, about our beautiful museum and a great collection. As you know, traveling around the world, visiting different countries, people intend to discover more about each culture.
Sorry, Shirin Melikova. Please,
yes?
could you use the presentation mode with your PowerPoint presentation?
To all screen, yes?
Yes, whole screen.
Whole screen. How to do it? Just a minute.
At the bottom of the presentation.
Yeah, but
okay.
Actually, okay. Yes. So you see it all, yes? Yeah, and when you travel and when you will have a chance to come to our country, to Azerbaijan, to its capital city, Baku, you should definitely visit our museum, because only in our museum, in Azerbaijan National Carpet Museum, you will understand the spirit of our people and what is beauty and perfection for us, and learn more about the history and about the culture of our land. Carpet remains Azerbaijan's main symbol. In our culture, the carpet is more than just an element of house decoration or a part of myriad festivals or ceremonies. Rather, it reflects the uniqueness of our character and artistic taste and successive historical epochs and styles. Our museum, the first museum in its kind in the world, and today we reveals as the most visited museum and flagship of modern museum practice. Since the very first days of the opening of the new extra-modern building, the attention to the museum and its popularity in the world has rapidly increased. It represents the most complete collection of Azerbaijani carpets, and at the same time, the different applied arts of our country. The museum is engaged not only in storing, accumulating and studying its collections, but also it's a scientific, informational, educational, and handicraft center. Like all prominent museums around the world, we actively develop educational programs. We conduct tours, give lectures, organize master classes focused on our permanent collection, revive forgotten carpet techniques, and teach these techniques to all our comers, adapt the museum space toward the inclusivity. These interactions with visitors concentrate primarily on the diversity of technological and artistic features of our foremost national heritage, Azerbaijani carpet. We attract both children of all ages and their parents. The museum has become a living and ever-changing educational center for all without exception, including visitors with disabilities. We live in the age of digital technologies, and museums that preserve their traditional forms of activity today in the era of the COVID pandemic required to master virtual reality, interact with their viewers online. We observe how all museums in the world digitize their collections and give unlimited access to them. Museums have also assumed educational functions, working closely with their followers. And due to the closure of borders and lack of tourists who often make up a large percentage of visitors, they develop programs to attract the local population, different social groups of different ages to their spaces, solve the issues of inclusion. Our museum was the most visited in the pre-COVID time, and after going online, it became the most active in this direction. The museum engaged its followers with educational and entertaining posts, videos and animations, live talks, competitions and master classes. During pandemic, our museum shared more than 4,000 posts on various topics in 3 languages on its social media pages and digitalized its collections. The museum always pays special attention to the formation of aesthetic taste in the next generation, based on national and cultural traditions. Our innovative projects encourage students to be creative and design conditions to reveal their talents. We're currently implementing a project. I would like to show you a few master classes which we have in on different techniques in our online program. So this is embroidery, and that is weaving master classes. So, and now we are, and here you can see the that we digitalize all our 7 collections, and we make different posts explain each item. So this is our new project, which I really like. This is a fashion show from my grandmother's storage trunk, intended to revive interest in the national costume among kids and teenagers. The program includes 12 theoretical and practical lessons on the history of Azerbaijani national costumes, studying objects from the museum's embroidery, clothing, textile and jewelry collection, as well as teaches how to cut traditional types of clothing and perform all stages themselves under the guidance of a museum employer. Choosing fabric, cutting, embroidering, children learn to create sketches and design their own costumes in the mix of traditional and modern style. At the end of the program, we plan to organize a fashion show. Our museum organizes master classes on different weaving techniques reviving ancient flat weaving techniques, creating carpet sketches arouses interest in such ancient craft as chitan and hasir making, arranged drawing contests, online lectures and lessons, quizzes within the museum space and online, photo contests, children's online exhibitions on various topics, as well as puppet show and shadow theater based on national fairy tales and performed and designed by our children's department staff. The museum collaborates with the Azerbaijan Autism Association and the Center of Psychological Rehabilitation of Persons with Special Needs. And once a week, we welcome children with autism to our museum to join our programs. The museum works also in close cooperation with educational institutions. We organize a special program for children on different topics that include online series of lectures, tours within the museum space to study specific artifacts and arrange master classes on the topic. For example, this one, very interesting, with a European Lyceum. And you see here, so they're attending 540 children. And now we're working with a lot of schools in Baku and even in regions. We organize online lectures about weaving, about carpet art, and we make master classes, and then we invite these children group by group because of the COVID, we can't collect a lot of people all together. This project is also very interesting. Last year we did the greatest project. We revived all this technique. We weaved carpets from undyed wool. This is completely forgotten, this way of carpet making. And here we organized master classes for children where they discover more about the different types of sheep breeds, wool, and learn to weave with undyed wool. Now I would like to tell a few words about 18th May, our main holiday, which we celebrated yesterday. First of all, I congratulate all of you with this holiday. So in our museum, we organized an entertaining full day event for everyone to join. It was held online, of course, due to the pandemic restriction, but however, was no less engaging. During the first half of the day, we hosted online meetings with different local communities and invited representatives of all social groups with whom we are in constant cooperation to celebrate International Museum Day together. The series of events started with an online meeting with artists and craftsmen. So we were discussing different projects which we can implement all together, about their problems, about how we can help them to work toward new ideas for new products, and how they can present their goods in local and foreign market. The following meeting was with the people of different disabilities with whom we are working constantly. In Azerbaijan, we are first inclusive museum, and we adopted our collection for all the needs. I will tell about this later. So we discussed, this was very important for me, because we met not only with directors of these communities, but also with the people who visited our museum, with, for example, with disabled people, and they were sharing with us their ideas about our museum, their feelings, and this was really very important. And we discussed a few projects which we will do in future to make our collection, not collection, but exposition more inclusive. And then we met with the directors of Karabakh museums. You know that during 30 years, these museums had completely destroyed and collections are destroyed. So we were discussing the way of repairing collections and at the same time the museum buildings with the directors of these museums, what is really very actual question in Azerbaijan. And in the evening, we organized the intellectual game, What, Where, and When. It's one of the oldest game in Soviet Union. I should tell you, one of my favorite. And the first time we did it for museums. So all questions was about museums and 36 questions in total, and 6 made by us. It was video questions. And so 22 groups participated in this game by Zoom online, but one group you can see in our museum, and this is very interesting point because this group of young people, they are our constant visitors. They always participate in our lectures, in master classes, and they collected the group and were playing this game in our museum. What is very important, so we involve in our museum people of different generation, of different social groups. This is our main point, actually. And at the end, we organized a jazz rock concert, and also we invited not famous people, not famous musicians, but young who are just started their way in musical career. And this is great because our museum became the platform where different talented people can meet each other and can realize their talent. Actually, this was very inspiring, and this concert also was online on our Facebook pages. And in the conclusion, I would like to tell a few words about our unique inclusive program. I would like to share because maybe some of you who has in its collections textile carpets, they will inspire by this project. You know that in different museums there are the possibility to touch objects. Mostly it's reliefs, 3D reliefs. But in our museum, we created special carpets. It's 3D dimensional carpets with patterns, our main patterns. And so visitors with eye disability, with vision disability, they can touch to these carpets and read the braille letters about the carpets, and they can feel it. And this is really, we didn't know, but we found out that this was a first time when carpet became an inclusive object. So now we prepared special inclusive carpets for the State Hermitage Museum, for the oldest carpet in all over the world. It's Pazyryk carpet, dated 2,500 years old, which is on the exposition of Hermitage Museum, and it will be accompanied by the carpets, inclusive carpets done by our museum. And the presentation will take part this year. So thank you very much for your attention. Yes, I wanted to say that also it's possible to teach people with vision disabilities to weave carpets. And really we do it, and even yesterday we discussed how we will continue to work with them in our future future projects. So thank you very much for your time, for your attention. And I would like to, as a moderator of this session, I would like now to give floor to our next speaker, Mr. Awais Malik, Senior Manager, National History Museum, Lahore. And the title of the paper is The Need for the Digital Transformation in Museums in Pakistan. So, Mr.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shirin. It was lovely to get to know about your museum. I really hope that I can visit it one day. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity to speak with you learned people. I will start with my presentation. Okay, so the topic that I'll be presenting today is the need for digital transformation in museums in Pakistan, and I'll try to show that how it connects with the theme of this conference that we're all in. That how it helps, this digital transformation actually helps us to recover and reimagine our histories, our narratives. So starting with the first slide. So I think it is very important for every museum in the world to transform itself.
Sorry, Awais. Please convert to the full screen, your presentation.
Okay, just a minute.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry, but I'm struggling
From
to do that.
Current slide, you just press for current slide. It's up. It's up. Yes, you see. Yes. You see from the left. From the left. No. In this slideshow, but go a little bit down. Yes. From current. No. A little bit left. More left. More left. Yes. The first.
From current slide.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so as I was telling that I personally, and in fact, we all would like to agree to that digital transformation is very important for museums today, because a huge proportion of the population of this earth has transformed itself digitally. There are around 5 billion people which are using digital tools. There are around 4.5 billion people who are using internet and 4 billion people who are on social media. So it is very important for museums to adopt the digital nature. So starting with what exactly means by digital transformation. So essentially, it is the involvement and introduction of digital tools of communication, which involves a number of things where you can have interactive screens, where you can have audio-visual support. The content can be digitized, and how you market your museum is also very important, because digital forums and digital media is very important for that. Social media, particularly focusing on social media, is extremely important for every museum. In fact, for every business or every organization, whether it is based on profit or not, it is very important to reach to the people through social media. And museums today should also be doing that. And as part of that social media promotions, one thing that can be really helpful is to plan e-programming, which essentially has become very important since the COVID-19 pandemic, because most of the things are happening online. So why museums can't do that? And we also need to understand that even though this is the need of today's world, unfortunately, there are many places in the subcontinent and in Pakistan as well, where museums are not really exploring and using the digital avenues, which still remains a challenge. And it is important for all these museums to transform themselves digitally, to extend their outreach and to extend their message and to make their message reach to the people. I'll be presenting the case study of National History Museum, Lahore, which is Pakistan's first digitally interactive history museum. I'll show you a little video that can help you understand that. So I hope this video would have really helped you understand what exactly the National History Museum entails. So at the National History Museum, we use interactive screen displays, video and audio narratives, and immersive exhibits to enhance the visitor experience, because we believe that is actually very important, that museums redefine the traditional structure of a museum, and they have to come up with modern technology. They have to involve the modern tools so that people can actually understand when they come to the museum, especially the younger people that are coming to the museum. The museum also houses virtual reality exhibits, which have been really successful in letting our message reach to the people. So the third very important thing that we do at the National History Museum is that we involve the oral narratives of people who existed in the past. So that presents the picture of the history through a very human lens, and it makes it very authentic. I'll show you some more pictures to show that how digital technology is being used at the museum. You can see how younger generation is getting attracted to the museum and getting involved in the museum subject. Also, I would like to mention that the video is a little old. So we have had a total of 235,000 visitors by far. This picture is of the President of Pakistan, who visited us in February of 2020. These are screenshots of our social media accounts. So we are regularly posting on social media because that is a very, very important avenue to promote the museum and to reach to the people in Pakistan and all around the world, in fact. And these screenshots are from some of the e-programming that we have done. So since the pandemic happened and museum had to be closed down, so we decided that we will have to use this digital and social media forums to actually keep our place vibrant and keep it a topic of discussion in the people. So we arranged a number of events online. You can see these two events that I've attached here. We have recently concluded a very good collaboration with Project Dastan, which is a very fascinating project which connects people across the borders of India and Pakistan. Okay, so I would like to present some of the observations that we have had at the museum. So firstly, because of its digital outlook and digital display, we believe that this theme attracts the younger generation in particular, which I believe is a primary target audience of every museum, because you want to convey the message of the past to the generation that is yet to grow up and become active participants in the society. So because our display is very children oriented, there are a number of digital tools with which children of today are completely familiar. In fact, they find it difficult to learn things through the traditional learning devices and learning tools. The second important thing that we observed is that this communication process becomes very easy and self-expressive when you use digital technology, because now you don't only have an object, a traditional object, which is placed in a showcase, but you have visual aids, you have sound aids, which are self-expressive, which tell their story themselves. And also because this museum, when it houses a digital forum, it also becomes very interactive for the people, so that when people go and interact with things, these things actually tell them what they are about, and they actually inform them the history of themselves or the subject that they're talking about. The third important thing is that how we see that education and enjoyment happen simultaneously when you're inside a digital museum. It doesn't get boring. We have tools that keep it fascinating and attractive for people, such as the virtual reality, such as the other programs that we do at the museum. So this is very important so that the learning process becomes much more effective. Also, the circle of outreach is extended because firstly, this kind of a museum attracts children as well as adults and as well as elderly. So it becomes very inclusive. And also because this museum in Pakistan has been a very unique museum because it is Pakistan's first digital interactive museum. So people who come here actually take this word out and tell others to come to the museum. And we often welcome visitors. We often have visitors who tell us that their relatives or their friends tell us that there is this very unique museum and you need to go there. Lastly, we believe that by involving first-hand oral narratives, which are different to the traditional museum's idea where you only read written content, we believe that this whole element of oral narrative brings a big deal of authenticity for the museum visitor, and they actually listen to the people who were existing in that time period. But there are also some challenges. There are some roadblocks that we have to consider when you see that you're going to transform yourself digitally or transform your museum digitally. Because the society isn't really growing with a very fast pace. There are still people, particularly older generations, who find it difficult to interact with technology, who really face difficulties in using social medias or other digital devices. So when you are going to transform yourself digitally, one thing that you need to consider that how you can make it as simple as possible for people who are not familiar with technology or not used to technology that much. So this is very important and a challenge that every museum should consider. Also, resources and funding has been an issue for museums throughout history. for this kind of a museum, it also becomes an issue because you're dealing with sensitive screens, you're dealing with sensitive headphones and other equipment that needs regular maintenance. And you have to actually make people understand that why this is important, because when people have a traditional mindset, it is important for you to let them know that this digital transformation is actually very important. Moving on to the last slide, which is what I like to conclude. We believe that all sectors and forms of work are undergoing a process of digital transformation. And you see universities going online, you see even government departments going online using digital technologies to assist everyone that comes to them. So why should museums lag behind? Museums should be transforming themselves digitally so that they can accomplish. By adapting and reimagining the ways in which history is preserved, we can do a lot of things with the help of this digital transformation. We can recover lost narratives and histories, which are also a theme of this conference, because narratives that are not part of the mainstream educational material or books or other forms of documents that help you understand history. We believe that digital transformation and digitizing things actually helps you recover those narratives and make them part of the mainstream narrative, which are often missed by people who are writing books and other things. You can attract a larger audience and younger visitors. You can ensure the protection and preservation of history. And this is very important because when you digitize a material, you basically immortalize it, because now it's preserved for a long period of time, as the physical preservation of an object is actually a very difficult thing, as all museum professionals would know. So digitizing content and presenting it is it extends its life to manyfold. Lastly, it also helps that you reimagine ways in which people understand and relate to museums, because this is a multi-dimensional learning, where you're not really learning through the traditional devices or objects. It is immersive, it is interactive, it is modern. So in this kind of a museum, you actually get a lot of help to take your message across to the people who you are inviting to your space. With this, I would like to thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I would like this opportunity, use this opportunity to invite you to the museum whenever you can, so that we can show you that how this digital transformation is working in our case. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malik. It was really very interesting, and for me, one of the main questions is where is the grade between in the exposition when we can use digital content? I mean, how many museums should have this content? This is one of the interesting questions, because as you mentioned, a lot of young generation, they really like this kind of content, and but to work on it, to update it, it's also one of the questions for museum and for our future, because yes. So I hope we will have time to discuss all this. And now I would like to give a floor to Ms. Farah Alakbarli. She is the curator in Yarat Contemporary Art Space in Azerbaijan. It's one of the very interesting place where innovative programs and exhibitions take place. So, and the topic is Pandemic Museum.
Yes.
Floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Shireen. Thank you for this opportunity to share our experience and to hear experience from the speakers. It was very interesting speeches from the beginning, and I hope that next following day also will be very interesting. So let me start my presentation. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can see it, but also we will ask you to
Yes.
make it on yes, to the whole.
Just a second.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Due to COVID-19, as you know, artists, museums, art foundations, galleries, and especially museums were faced with challenges posed by digital transformation. Digital transformation have changed the way how the art are produced and consumed. As one of the adopters of digital transformation to art technologies, art institutions all over the world are struggling with the new rules of pandemic life. So for Yarat, as for one of the leading contemporary art organizations in the region, this crisis became a new step and also is a new level in a dialogue with our audience. So we have to feed to computer or phone screens and made online our events. So as online events, we had a lot of discussions, we have live concerts on different platforms, for example, on Instagram, on Zoom. We had a lot of visitors, we had a lot of people who join us, but today my presentation is not about that part, as I'm curator of Yarat Contemporary Art Space, and my work is more focused on the exhibitions of the center. So I would like to speak about very important exhibition of our space, which was dedicated to Karabakh problem. We decided to open this exhibition after the end of the war in Karabakh, which was as a result of occupation of Azeri lands, 20% of Azeri lands by Armenian forces. The exhibition was titled "Forks Turned into an Epic Story in My Head." This was a sentence which I decided to take from the very famous poem of Ali Agha Wahid. It's a very famous poet here, and during the war days we heard this song from our soldiers. So it was as a musical part of the show as well, and was selected as a title of it. I would like to show you some slides, and then I will show you the core of the idea of digital transformation. As we became the first institution, first museum in Azerbaijan who worked with 3D tours and decided to give this kind of access to our museums, it was one of the first shows that we show in this format. So it was made to reach people, to give an access not only locally but also to international visitors as well. Now you can see some shots from it. Yes, and now I want to show you how it works actually. Also, I can give you a link to this, and you can also go walk through the show. So let me talk about exhibition a bit, about the concept, about the idea. So it was an exhibition dedicated to Karabakh question, to Karabakh conflict, but not from the prism of the war. Actually, we decided to talk about this region in general, as it was from before the war. You can see, for example, with these pieces, it's a very beautiful piece by outstanding Azeri painter Mikhail Abdullayev. It was this painting is called "Winter in Karabakh." So it's like a prehistory of Soviet period when people lived, when Armenian and Azeri lived all together in a peace, in a good relationship in Karabakh. So then we can see next photos here. It's actually very dramatic shots from Karabakh and the camp of refugees taken by photographers. This one is, for example, Elnur Babayev. He took very dramatic photos of kids who was lived in Sabirabad. This series called Sabirabad Refugees. The idea of this tour, you can see, you can touch, for example, these dots, white dots, and you can see all details of the work. You can see detailed work, you can see the caption of it. You can put anything you want. If you have, for example, let's say video work, you can put a link to it. This wall was dedicated, it was actually documentary photography wall, and it was dedicated to documented photoshots taken during First Karabakh War. This one, for example, is a very remarkable photo, which is entitled Way from Murov. Murov is a very important mountain, which was deoccupied during this year. And this, you can see here how people left in 1991, their own villages, their own homes. So we have actually a lot of this kind of photos, documented photos, and it was taken from the archive of Photographers Union. And most of them were shown first time. A beautiful piece by Alev Litvin. This one, I like it so much. Soldiers in the mountains with the flowers. So the next step of the exhibition was mid-period. You can see, you can walk through the show. I want to show you an interesting piece by young artist Erkin Alekberli. This one. The work was entitled Trace, and he selected the real wheel, which was taken from Karabakh during the First War, and it's a car. People left on this car their own homes and became a refugee. So he found this car and put under it the dates of occupation of the regions during the First War. And you can see it goes somewhere further, the wheel. It comes to the next step of the exhibition. Just a second. I want to show you next works. So here, you can see also paintings here. This one is by Maral Rahmanzadeh. She is a very famous Azeri artist. The work is entitled "The Part of Lachin." Lachin is also one of the occupied Karabakh regions, and you can see that then in Soviet period, this was one of the flourishing, one of the blossoming parts, corners of Azerbaijan. But now it looks very ugly, and we are waiting for new challenges, for new changes of this region. Another work of emerging artist Samir Suleymanov, this one. It was video animation, and it has actually a very interesting prehistory, as we was working on his solo show, and he said that, you know, I have an idea to show Jiderdüzü. Jiderdüzü is a very famous place it's a view on mountains in Shusha. And he said that, you know, I have an interesting idea to make a video of it, but I don't have access. I don't have possibility to go there physically, or to ask someone, to ask friends, as that land was occupied. So starting from that point, he found an interesting idea to show it in the format of video animation. Why is it interesting for me as a curator? I can explain you. Because by that time, we don't have chance, and it was kind of illusion of him. Actually, it's a very beautiful place. It's a very beautiful artwork. You can see his artist's illusion according to this place. He never been there. He never had chance to go there. Even during the preparation of the show, he don't have possibility to go there. And that's why he decided to use media that he able to show. Another interesting work, this one. It's a very simple, but at the same time, very beautiful piece. It's small, that's why I'm showing you the photo of it. Again, Etkin Alekberli, and here's a very beautiful piece, Song of Hari Bülbül. The thing is that Hari Bülbül is a flower, and it was always symbol of Karabakh and especially of Shusha. He decided to put it to broken pot with the land which was brought also from Karabakh region. And now, now the idea was to show that we de-occupied these lands. It's again our lands, and we're going to make this part, to make Karabakh flourishing garden again. And as you can see here, this flower, Hari Bülbül, is flourishing in this broken pot. It's a very symbolic, it's a very thin idea of delivery these problems through art. I want to show you another work by very famous and very outstanding contemporary artist Rashad Alekberov, and his light installation with territory, with the numbers of territory of Azerbaijan. And now I want to show you the song, which was actually as a title of the show. It was so it was a song by one of the brave soldiers who passed away during this war, and he became famous with this song. And this song also became, it got like a second breath after this war, and now artists use it as a symbol of resistance, as a symbol of win of the nation. And you can see the numbers of total Azerbaijan after the liberation of the lands. Another piece I want to show you is a painting of the of contemporary artist Aida Mahmudova. She is at the same time founder of Yarat Contemporary Art Center, and this work was presented in Baku first time. Before it was shown in Dubai on her solo exhibition. This one, it's a kind of reference to the inner world of each one. It's a kind of reference to our thoughts, and at the same time the relevance to the war, let's say. A very interesting series of photos you can see here. I want to show you one by one, as it's very notable and very important shot. A young photographer, Javed Gurbanov, made this social relevant project. He decided to found in Baku refugees who left their lands during the First War, and he asked them to show one thing that they brought from their homeland. And actually it was amazing. It has very amazing effect, because all of these people kept something from home, kept something from their left lands. You can see here, we decided to put photos in on different levels. Actually, this idea came to me according to map of Karabakh, and you can see also the thickness of frames for the photos. It's also based on the idea of relief of the region. For example, this woman from Lachin, he brought the keys from her home. This woman, she took the sand from the grave of her husband, and she also kept watches of her husband with the blood on it. You know, it's a very sensitive and it's a very actually hard to understand, to realize all of these losses of people and nation now.
Dear Farah, I'm sorry, but you have a few minutes left.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to finish. Yeah, this one was animation of, it was a game actually of a young artist, Agababa Baglarov. It was dedicated to post-conflict situation because people after the conflict, even in that region, they need to find somehow dialogue between them, and they need to find a compromise to go further. And the last work from our exhibition was these photos. You can see the flag series. It was a dedication to the win of Azerbaijan during these manifestations in the street as after each liberation of region. And what I want to say about the idea of this digital transformation is that it gives a very good opportunity to people to see exhibitions in our center, even being somewhere abroad, even being not physically in the center. And you can see that it's very easy to find the captions, to find information about the works. And we decided to make this kind of tours for all of our exhibitions, and you can find it on our website. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and good luck to all speakers today and tomorrow. Thank you, Shirin.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Alakbarli. This was really a very interesting presentation and an interesting way of how to deal now with in the COVID time with the exhibition when you don't have a chance to show it in the wide audience. So this is also a very great way to give this glance to the exhibition and to see very precisely all objects and to read. And this exhibition is very important for Azerbaijan, really for our situation now. And thank you very much for this very, very interesting and important work and presentation. And now I would like to continue with our conference. So I would like to give a floor to Mr. Fazul Latif Choudhury, ex-Director General, Bangladesh National Museum and Executive Board Member of IVCoM Bangladesh. And the title of the paper is Digital Transformation of Museums, Enhancing Attractiveness, Better Documentation, and More Secure Preservation. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Am I audible to everyone? Okay. I'm very impressed with the three presentations. I hope I am audible to you. You can hear me. Just give me a sec to share my screen. I've forgotten the command for the full screen. Is it Control F5 or what is it?
Yes, we can see it. And if you will make it to the whole monitor.
Exactly, I'm trying to do that.
It's a slideshow. You need to press slideshow on up, on menu up. A slideshow you see on menu. Up, it's up, a little bit up. Yes, yes, the next one, animations, and then the slideshow. Yes, yes, this one from current slide. Done.
Right. Thank you very much, Ms. Shirin Melikova, for helping me in organizing this presentation. Distinguished audience, a very good day to you all. Today, we are going to talk about digital transformation of museums. Mine is rather a theoretical approach, a bit instructive, a bit theoretical, a bit instructive and generalized. The three presentations before me have been nicely enhanced with pictures and videos. Those you'll be missing anything like that from my presentation today, but if you wait till tomorrow, there will be a presentation on Bangladesh National Museum. So you will that will compensate for this rather dull academic presentation. There are 23 slides to support my presentation. But I have to be brief given the time limitation. Anyone interested, please send me an email to collect a copy of the PPT. My contact coordinates are given in the last slide. So it is digital transformation of museums from Awais Malik's presentation on the History Museum, National History Museum. You have obtained real essence of a digitally transformed museum. That is very good and very helpful for me. There are 6 major aspects to focus on when we discuss about digital transformation of a museum. About a decade ago, you can see them on the screen. About a decade ago, when we started to embrace the digital technology, our approach was essentially tentative. It was tentative not only because our understanding of digital platform was inadequate, but because we had no preceding example before us to follow or to copy. But today we can confidently say that digital transformation of museums is not a choice. In fact, it is the future of museums around the world. And the pandemic, which is forced us to use the digital platform for conferences, has taught us the advantage offered to us by the digital technology. When we started digitalization, we understood immediately the scope of digitalization. We understood the scope of digitalization appeared with immense opportunities and huge promises to render our museums attractive, more useful and productive, and socially relevant. If we have not done as yet, as managers of the museums, we need to develop and put in place a digital transformation program right away. As it is said, better late than never. One point I would like to clarify at these stages, our goal is never to transform a traditional museum into a digital museum. Real artifacts and objects will not be replaced with 3D photographs and replicas. our target is a digitalized museum. It's important to understand the distinction between a digital museum and a digitalized museum. So what do we understand by digital transformation? Mr. Malik has focused on this, taking from him. Simply speaking, it is the adoption of digital technology. Our objective is to introduce digital solutions to museum activities. And when it is possible, we'll go for what is called process automation and web-based interactions and transactions. To be less technical, we'll be applying computers, internet, mobile technology, and allied technologies, including light and sound. So that is all about, in brief, what we understand by digital transformation. Now, what is the scope of digitalization? I have identified 5 broad areas you can see on the screen. We'll be touching on all of these aspects briefly, given the time constant. When it comes to digitalization, where do we start? Where do we start the transformation process? In my experience, it is easiest to commence with digitalization of the office management process. Why? This is because various solutions are available, not expensive at all, easy to handle. Of course, this will not be tangible to our main stakeholders who are the visitors to the media. It's a kind of back office modernization, needless to explain, but it orientates the mutual professionals towards a digital platform. And I'll say that when we did this at the Bangladesh National Museum, it instilled in us what is called digital values in the psyche of our museum managers. Similarly, before we proceed to use digital technology with the display system, it will be useful to digitalize the collection, management system, and documentation. The process of developing a digital database of museum objects will truly prepare us for embracing digital technology in the public space, that is, in the display galleries and exhibitions. Going digital in the display arena is rather challenging. It needs a creative mind who understands the capacity of digital technology while possessing museological mindset. That is, we truly need someone who understands digital curating. Our permanent display galleries can be enhanced significantly by using digital signage and audio and video supports, systems supported by appropriate light and sound. You have seen in the presentation of Mr. Malik how they have used in Bangladesh National Museum too. We have done these less or more. We can go up to introducing audio guide, but that would be at a rather mature stage when we are really prepared to go for such a high-tech thing. In reality, everything we do will pose some challenge. Our strategy can be to adopt a modest approach where we proceed in stages. For example, instead of digitalizing all the permanent galleries at the same time, we can go one by one. It means an incremental approach to digitalization. On the fringe of this, we can start computerization of the library management system, something again, a bit backstage, which is rather a simple task like office automation. This will include the digitizing of books and papers and documents and such as items that carry text and images. And finally, we go for, when we are ready, when these digital items are ready, we go for, we make them accessible online. So what I've said just that we take an incremental approach, and before we go for digitalization of the permanent galleries and the exhibitions, we prepare ourselves by automating the office procedure and by computerization of the library facilities. At a mature stage of digitalization, we can go for a more comprehensive program. What do we mean by that? We expand the scope of digitalization. We expand the scope of interacting with our visitors. We can consider setting up of a virtual reality gallery. It is not really, I think when Mr. Malik was speaking of the President of Pakistan, I saw that headphones were there with visual screens, with optical gadgets. So I think that was the kind of virtual reality gallery. That can be different ones. This give huge experience, a very good impression to the visitors, especially the youngsters like it very much. So we can consider setting up a virtual reality gallery, establishing photo archive, music archive, documents archive to accommodate posters, leaflets, stamps, currency notes, postal stamps, video archive, and film archive. These are additional opportunities given by the digital technology if we are prepared to do so. Then we can further expand into things like oral history project.
I'm sorry, you have left a few minutes.
Okay. At any stage, we can consider developing a virtual museum. It is easy. We need to have a competent audio visual unit as well as the web management unit. I have not, as yet, mentioned the case of a good website, but I have not really forgotten that. We'll soon touch upon the point. A time has come when in running museums, we compete against TV channels, Facebook, Netflix, video games, entertainment applications, such other virtual recreational opportunities. In this context, modern museums need to be both for learning and fun. We have to render museums a public place for fun, and digital technology helps us in there. But we have to make we have to strike the proper balance. The major stakeholders, visitors, we have to involve them. We have to grab their attention, but how? There is no off-the-shelf solution. Fortunately, it is not either a $1 million question. We have to be innovative. We have to understand the client's needs and tailor our presentation accordingly. Our strategic goal should be to set up an interactive museum where visitors will be able to digitally interact and transact with the museum space. Digital technology enables us to chalk out a wide range of activity program for a visitor. For example, suppose there is a famous painting on display. Digital technology allows the visitor to go before that and edit that image with the swing of the hand. It's a great fun for the youngsters. Visitors' digital experience can start if you can buy an entry ticket with his mobile phone. We did that. Then we can swipe the ticket to move the turnstile. There's a digital signage and entrance. It advises which way to proceed. There can be a digital kiosk with floor maps. In another digital kiosk, he can ask the location of a particular object of his interest. During exit, he can sit and at another kiosk and share his experience online. We have done that. What I have seen, what I have not seen, they can share with the museum managers. This may be shown on a larger screen while he's writing in the sitting at the kiosk in real time. It's very interesting.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to interrupt you really, but the time is over. I'm sorry. It's already 15 minutes and we supposed.
All right, let me conclude by saying that the digital technology has brought us immense opportunities, and if we can embrace it, then the future of the museums is bright, because we'll be able to involve our visitors, our clients, our stakeholders, and with sooner than later. Thank you very much for your interest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's really a very important subject, and I hope that we will have a chance to continue this discussion and to continue this topic in our future meetings. And now I would like to invite Mr. Pankaj Protim Bordoloi, Deputy Director, President House Museum, New Delhi, India. And the topic is Share, Care and Sustain, Reimagine Museums in India.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible to everyone, please? Can anybody give me a signal? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to first thank IVCoM Pakistan and Kumit Turkey for organizing this, and I'd like to thank IVCoM Azerbaijan for inviting me to talk about this topic today. And quickly, I'm going to share my screen, and then I can talk about the topic what we are discussing today. I think everyone can see my slide properly.
Yes, we can see very well.
Yeah. Okay. So today I was talking about this subtopic called social relevance and sustainability, and how we can share, care, and sustain and reimagine the museums in an Indian context. That's what I'm going to say about you. I'm going to the second slide. Sorry. So as you know, that from the typical duties of the museum, it is more important that a museum work as a power to create the social unity, and it's more important that it works in the local levels, because local levels the museum provide a sense of community belonging by celebrating a shared heritage. So in the Indian context, if you see, we are facing this problem because before talking about the recover the things, we have to talk about what is the current problem is. So if you see in the left hand side, the Indian museums are not so vibrant, but rather than having a sad air, and the exhibits are well displayed, but sometimes it lacked that consistency of display, and this is because of a good funding opportunity, and then publication and supplement the entire experience to the audience. That is also sometimes not properly done. And incorporate of current technology. Yes, that is there, but it is limited and very much not accessible to all the general public. So this is the scenario of the Indian museum. So this COVID problem has add on this problem, and you can see that there are a lot of museum has been closed across the globe, and India is not out of that. If you see that in India, we have around 500 museums, and they are trying to digitize their collection. And Google Arts and Culture, they are helping Indian museums to digitize their thing. From the government part, there's a little lack of support and lack of thing, because in this current situation, to reach to the wider audience, it is only possible through doing a digitized process. And digitizing is the, I think, one of the only step which we can reopen the museum to the public. And then another necessary step of this thing is to go beyond the walls of the museums by using technology, and to break that obsolete difference between those two aspects, and by functioning in an up-to-date manner, which is not very much possible in some museum contexts. Then make the museum more accessible by ensuring that a culture of visiting museum exists within the education infrastructure itself. By putting up museum in our educational curriculum, we can provide a more accessibility to the museum. And then again, an interdisciplinary approach, like using public art practices of the exhibits in the public places by bringing museum to the places. So these are the ways we can find out to make museum more accessible to the public. And it should be more active and self-directed, and that will involve the young minds of the community. And we do have to share our ideas also to the public, because to stay relevant in the aspect, we have to share. So online presence is important. Online presence will definitely provide a greater accessibility along with the physical presence. And 3D painting, art cameras, these are things we can incorporate it. One example I'd like to share. In India, recently we have a Women in India Unheard Stories program organized by one of the museum, and that got a lot of support from online in the museum fraternity. Then Google Art and Culture is also helping around 50 museums to digitize their collection. Apart from digitizing, I think one more important part is that the museum has to make itself relevant by participating in local daily newspapers or other mediums, op-eds, like publishing some articles about the museum collection, and distribute information sheet, pamphlets, catalog, etc. Along with that, to give its ideas to the existing public. And the caring, that is a very important aspect of the museum in this context, that how to care the things. It is not only the thing that we have to care for the authorities, for the objects also, it has to be care in a historical context also, like how we can care the entire thing in a very inclusive way. For an example, we can say that Partition Museum in Amritsar in Punjab, India, this museum has launched a mobile app application users where people can again visit their collection. These are very easy methods to do that. And another very important part of this pandemic time is to physical objects, how to care your physical connections. See, digital only can provide an accessibility to your collection, but how to maintain that collection, how to constantly monitor those collections. So I think that potentially the museum has to open it for some time with a very limited staff also, maintaining all COVID protocols, but to take utmost care of its collection. So that is also a very important aspect. But the most important part is that how, in this context, the museum can sustain. So digitization is always there. It can provide some substitute element for revenue building also. And the government museum, mostly in India, they are very not good funded. So they have to find out some online medium of revenue generation, like providing some movies and all, some online classes, some online lectures, courses, all those that they can build up some revenues. And this also has to be sustained as an institution, not as a kind of object or not as a collection. And this also has to facilitate some options that the community can also donate to the museum, because that is the one medium where community is aware about the collection and all things, then they will definitely come forward and help the museum to sustain in this difficult time. And again, that space and work, the many museums has many spaces, how to reutilize those spaces in some other ways to generate some revenues, and then accommodate the digital engagement, and provide some virtual kind of exhibition and all, but by charging some money and all, so that will give the museum a kind of sustaining process to sustain itself. And I think there's a very much important need come up, that the rebuilding of the museum spaces, that architecture, that grandeur, that needs to be more flexible to provide in the post-pandemic time, to provide more people, maintaining all these COVID restriction and all. This is also a very important aspect. And finally, how to reimagine the things, because it has to a new perception of museum will definitely different from this current time, and this will definitely give a new impetus to the new normal after the post-pandemic time also. Safety protocols and other mediums of exhibit, this will go by hand, and technology definitely will give us great scope for creativity, but it has to be also in a very inclusive way and accommodating that active and public without sacrificing the traditional quiet museum experience many visitors expect will be the key for a museum to attain future success. And then finally, as Stephen Weil has once said, that if museums are not being operated with the ultimate goal of improving the quality of people's life, on what basis to possibly ask for public support? So in that context, we have to find out the situation, because this is where the relevance of museum lies, even in this pandemic period or post-pandemic situation. So therefore, the museum has to always try to be relevant in the public domain. And I think the consistent efforts of all stakeholders are need of the hour. Namaste, thank you. And before I'm concluding, I'd like to again thank you all the organizers for providing this opportunity. But personally, I'd like to give my personal comment on the entire process, that I am a person who always believe that technology and the physical interaction of museum can go by hand on hand. And because technology cannot be the only way to sustain or to reach to your audience, there's a concept of hybrid museum is also coming up. But we have to think that how we can go hand by hand, because I think virtual medium is always a very supporting system for kind of the physical mode of the museums. So we need to find out that way ahead, and how to go hand by hand. That is the most important question of the hour. Thank you once again, all of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bordelais. It was very, very interesting presentation, and your point of view. We appreciate you. And our last speaker is Dr. Amina Melikova. She's a director of the Museum Center İçeris Şehir. It's a jewelry of Baku, Old City in Azerbaijan. And the title of the paper is Burama, Traditional Craft as a New Business Model in Gala Village. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Shirin Hanum. I would like to greet all the participants of this conference and to say to all my colleagues, Happy Museum Day, and to wish everybody success and prosperity in this year, which is not really easy. And thank you very much for all the lecturers, which I've been listening with great interest. I would shortly introduce myself and the museum center which I had. İçeris Şehir means old city or inner city, and it was as an institution established in 2018, 3 years ago. And this is the union of several museums located in the inner city, old city, which is in the heart of Baku, including Palace of Shirvanshahs, which is the ancient state, which was on the territory of Azerbaijan on 616th Republic, Maiden Tower, which is the symbol of Baku. And also today in my lecture, I will tell you shortly about some business model of our traditional craft Burama. and Gurama Center, which was open in Gala State Ethnographical Village, which is now also the part of our museum center. So, just a second. Gurama is patchwork or quilts. I know that this is the very ancient traditional craft which exists almost all over the world in all continents. In Azerbaijan, we call it Gurama. I know that in Turk language is kurmak. It means to create something, and Gurama is more.
I'm sorry, is it possible to make it to the whole screen?
Just a second.
Показ слайдов, я думаю.
А разве у меня на полном экране, только слева я вот вижу.
Вот надо на показ слайдов нажать в меню. Наверху в меню.
Okay, так. Is it okay now?
Да, вот так. Спасибо.
Okay. Yeah, so as I said, Gurama is the art of Gurama is one of the most ancient and traditional artistic embroidery art in our nation and have been revived with a joint initiative of Ichari Shahar Museum Center, which is under the administration of State Historical Architectural Reserve, Ichari Shahar. As I said, it means inner city, and State Employment Agency under the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection for Population of the Republic of Azerbaijan. The project was launched in December 2020. Just shortly to tell you that this is the ministry, the State Employment Agency was created in 2016 to help people of social low state to create their business. And Gala is one of the, like Baku is located in Absheron Peninsula, and it is surrounded by 32 villages, which we call them Baku villages. And one of them is Gala, which has got the most ancient history. And once they came to our museum and asked us to help them to find like people who are like a little bit, who are in need of some financial help. And by that time, in my mind, there was the project of revival of Gurama art, because Gala, it's like open air museum, is the place where you can get acquainted with like 19th century Baku village. And when they came to us in search for some people, I offered them project which they which they liked, and they supported this project. So 7 ladies from Gala village, we gave them space in our museum. And now they, from employment agency, they were given for 1 year very professional like embroidery equipment, which is usually like used in some ateliers or in some sewing workshops and studios. And now for several months, they try to revive Gurama. The project was launched by Ichari Shahar Museum Center in cooperation with Baku City Employment Department to develop ancient and traditional folk crafts, art, and ensure women's employment in Gala State Historical and Ethnographic Reserve. 7 women, as I said, who lived in Gala village. As you see on this picture, it is Azerbaijani traditional Gurama in some types is a bit different from patchwork from different countries. As I said, this type of embroidery art dominated by rich and colorful geometric ornaments. And this colorful palette of colors we also observe in our Azerbaijani carpets, in kelagai, which is a silk scarf, and in many traditional arts of Azerbaijan. Maybe this also connected with climate, as you know that Azerbaijan or territorially is located on 9 climate zones out of 11. The major aim of the project, although it was originally used to save fabrics, it later became a beautiful art form. And also I think that guramas, this is typical embroidery decoration for the houses. And even now when we go to some gala house, we can find this embroidery on the walls, on some niches from in the houses. This was, as I said, in December 2020, this was the opening of this project. As you understand, of course, in pandemic year, it was not so easy to open this workshop, but we did it. As you see here on the picture, the equipment is really very good. Like from our museum, we gave them the space, the venue, about 200 like square meters. This is like the chairman of Ichari Shahar Reserve. This is also the head of employment agency. These are, you can see on the left photo, you can see those ladies, and it is very important that some of them are really young ladies, and they came to us and they applied. So 7 ladies, it's also only for beginning, but this is very interesting that after we started launch this project, some people from other parts of our republic, they call us and they ask us if they can also participate in this project. So I mean, this project is very important. So once it's like women employment for gala women. The other one is in Gala Museum, we have interactive tours, and now it's one more attraction for people coming to museum. Like now they can also try to make their gurama. And of course, the most important is that we make this art live. As you see, of course, if we compare gurama, we made some research. We applied to some museums, and of course, thanks to Shirin Khanum, our National Carpet Museum of Azerbaijan has got also very rich collection of textiles of gurama belonging to different regions of Azerbaijan and belonging to different periods of Azerbaijan. This is for us very important for some research. Now we're preparing a book about gurama. But as in many other traditional crafts, every traditional craft, as we say, every craft has ever been traditional or contemporary. Of course, there is now new demands if we want to sell them, because this is an employment project. And to make these people have their living, we have to sell these gurama products. And for this, we have to invent some new types of gurama. So here we need to think about new colors. We have to think about new designs. Thanks God today in internet resources, there are very many interesting patchworks and quilts, gurama types, which are used in interior design. And as I said, the most important for us is that this very colorful, very really very nice to my mind art will live. There are many traditions in Azerbaijan which are connected with gurama, which is very important about gurama. And we say about this always that this type of art has no rules. It has no any like some canons or any like criteria to which it should be. This is totally the fantasy field for a gurama maker. And we think that according to our traditions, when people first came to bride's house, they wanted to see the girl's gurama because her character, her temper, everything like was in this gurama. Some people like more monochromic gurama. Some people make it very bright, and also it shows that a person is really patient, because to to make gurama, it requires a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of concentration of brain, of eye. Yes, before people used to make gurama only with hands. Now you can see how professionally equipped is gurama studio. And this is very important that, as I said, we have interest from people. And what we did, we made like an Instagram page. We made a new national brand, which we called gurama.us. And we hope that now this is, we also have some, now we have some sales during this Instagram page. Later on, we are planning to join some Etsy or some other international platforms where we can sell our gurama. But for us, like for museum people, of course, it is very important to make a message in every gurama. Also, there is some, now we say about climate change, we say a lot about global warming and so on. Another interesting fact about gurama is like this is ecological. This is to keep the environment, because in Gala we have a very large museum exposition which is called From Waste to Art. In this exposition, there are presented art pieces which were done from waste. And gurama is some sort of also to keeping ecology project, because the pieces now we have now very modern designers like ateliers in Azerbaijan. We called them all, and we asked them to provide us with some left unneeded pieces of textile, pieces of clothes, and we succeed in this. As you see, there are now we learn some new types of gurama. We start with those pillows with cushions, and now we try to expand like the assortment of products. And of course, as many traditional arts, as many traditional art types in gurama, in Azerbaijani gurama, we see some gap maybe between the 30s and 40s of the 20th century up to the beginning of 21st century. And this is, as we know, every time traditional crafts, they are very closely connected and depends in most of the time on way of life of people. You know that usually in Azerbaijan, people did not go out much of houses like in 19th century. And before the first oil boom, and before, you know that Azerbaijan is an oil country, and oil boom started here at the end of 19th century and beginning of 20th century. But before that, Baku and villages around Baku, they were not very popular and rich city because the houses were very small. And you can imagine that in one house, there were several women. One of them is like a grandmother, is like the head of the family. And then men used to go to work or used to make like some things in the yard, but women were most of the time they were at home. And this is how this craft is prospering, is developing, because women of the house, they sit together and they spend time together, like they have a special roles for every one of them. Like one lady is cutting. In fact, we do the same now with those 7 ladies. One of them is cutting the clothes, the other one is making design, the other one is sewing, somebody is ironing. So this is how it works even now. But then at the 40s, after the Second World War, as you know, Baku and Azerbaijani oil played an important role, and many men, they went to oil fields. Many didn't come back from the war. And of course, the women's way of life changed a lot. Some of them, they had to go outside of their houses and they had to find jobs for themselves to feed their family and so on. And that is why we see some changes and some even some gaps in developing of some sort of traditional arts, which usually takes a lot of time. But now, interestingly, now by after 2000 and after, of course, Azerbaijan got its independence, by the efforts of Haydar Aliyev Foundation and Ministry of Culture. Now today, as you know, that Azerbaijani carpet is known all over the world, that included in UNESCO Heritage List. Azerbaijani Kelagai is included in 2014, also in UNESCO Heritage List. And today our aim is that Azerbaijani Gurama, which has always very interesting stories and message behind it, we hope that it will be known not only in Azerbaijan and all over the world. And as I see now, this is a business type. We have a small shop, and this is only beginning. This is only start. But everybody is happy. Employment agency is really visiting us very oftenly, and they offer us, and they ask us if you want to expand Gurama Center. The ladies are very happy because most of them, they remember, and their genetic memory, of course, keeps the processes of making Gurama. The museum is happy because, as I said, we have a new interactive tour, and people coming to Galam Museum, they can now make their Gurama. And as I said, this is a traditional craft which will be prospering, which will be living, and we hope it will be known widely all over the world. With this national brand, gurama.us. This is all for now, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, dear Amina Melikova. It was very inspiring and so beautiful artworks, works of crafts and textile. Thank you very much for sharing with us. And we wish all of us wish you a big success, and in this beautiful experience, and all the who involved in this work, we wish them all the best. And on this note, I would like to thank everyone who joined us today, and for sharing your precious experience and adding such a contribution to the purpose of this meeting. I wish we have more time to continue our discussions, to exchange ideas on today's topics, to learn more and share more about the situation in our museums and in our countries. And I'm sure we will arrange another such meeting to continue to be close and develop relations between our countries within cultural sphere. I wish you strong health, and hope to see you in Azerbaijan. You are all welcome. If you have something to add, please, I think a few minutes we can have. And also I want to say that we have a lot of SMS in chat, and thank you for this SMS. Thank you very much, all of you. Maybe someone would like to say something or to ask something from our colleagues.
May I ask a question or add to the discussion? Thank you.
Yes, I think unfortunately our time is over and it's finished. But I think if other our speakers are still here, we could have a few 5 minutes to discuss some topics. So please ask your question.
Well, basically, it wasn't a question. I just wanted to thank everyone for the discussions tonight. And I'll be talking in the next session in June. I was extremely impressed tonight by looking at the museums. It has given me a number of ideas. I think I live in Australia and we are a little bit behind in many of our museums to what I have seen today. And again, I will say it's so great to see so many young people at the forefront of museum development. It is quite brilliant, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think, yes, all presentations were very interesting and inspiring. Yes, Mr. Sufi wrote that I would like to invite you all to kindly attend our Bangladesh session.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I couldn't see Dr. Javed. Can I see? Can I see Dr. Javed?
No, I don't see him.
Okay. Dr. Ali Akınakyol, please close the session together with Shirin Melikova, please.
So thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
And most welcome to our session tomorrow.
Yes, yes. We will you together with you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.